So you're thinking about moving to San Antonio, and now that you've decided to make your move out here to the Alamo City, as a mom, you're wondering, oh my gosh, how are my kids gonna adjust? What neighborhood am I gonna live in? Will there be good schools? Are we gonna be in a neighborhood where my kids are gonna adjust well and have fun? All those things run through our minds as moms, and so here I'm gonna give you the good, bad, the ugly of what to expect when you decide to move out here to San Antonio, what some of the neighborhoods are like, what routines look like, how the sweaty summers are gonna be. That way you can make an educated decision about your move here to the Alamo City. So let's go dive in. If this is your first time to my channel, I want to say welcome. My name is Tracy. I am a mom of 5 and your local San Antonio realtor. My family and I have lived here in San Antonio for almost 10 years, which is amazing. We moved out here in 2016, right before my son was born. My team and I love helping people make their move and transition to San Antonio, whether that's in 1 week or 1 year. We'd love to be able to help you out. All of our information is down below in the description area, so make sure you check that out. Hit the subscribe button below, that way you can be the first to find out about all the newest videos that come out and about the current market here in the San Antonio area. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. And one of the things that I love to do, obviously, is I like to show you some of the local hidden gems here in San Antonio that you can take your kids to run, explore, and just burn off some of that, boundless and endless kid energy. And so I'm gonna share with you one of the hidden gems that I am at, but you kind of also get a feel of what it is like to be out here. So let's talk about some family routines. Now, obviously, this is going to differ for every single person, but generally, I think that this is going to be fitting for maybe 90% of the population, especially if you have kids who are of school age. And I will also say that in the summertime, things can always be different because we are currently out of our normal routine just because there isn't really a routine. Okay, so I will say that generally our mornings begin typically very early because most of the schools here start by about 8 o'clock, and so my kids' school starts at 7:50, and so they are out of the door by about 7:20. What that means for me is that I am actually up at around 5 o'clock. That way I can get my workouts done and get things that that I need to accomplish done in the morning time before the whole morning rush of getting ready for school, drop-offs and all that fun stuff. So the good thing about the school districts here in San Antonio is that they do have bus services, but that is if you live more than a 2-mile radius outside of that school district. And so I think that's really good, just because they have a bus route, and that's something that you don't have to go worry about. But if you are at a if you are at a charter school or a private school, obviously that transportation is going to be up upon you. And so, if you are dropping your kids off to school and you have kids of school age, that's something to consider as well. Another thing that I will actually also say is that here in San Antonio, a lot of the school districts, they have school choice, and actually just recently the Northside Independent School District, they actually have open enrollment to the whole entire city of San Antonio, regardless of where you live in the city. So that's great, just because if you live outside of those school boundaries and you decide that you want to send your kid to one of the magnet schools that the Northside Independent School District has to offer, you can actually apply to get into that school. I will actually also preface and say that just because it is school choice, it does not necessarily mean that you are 100% going to be guaranteed a spot. Obviously, school choice is dependent on whether or not there's room in that school, and if they are able to take you, and they also, I think, take into consideration the previous record of your child in terms of attendance and delinquencies and all that other fun stuff. But make sure you go check the website, and they can obviously get more information over to you. Now, after you drop your kids off to school, if you are going to work, then it's time to hit the road and get into your office. And traffic here in San Antonio, it is manageable. It's not as bad as Austin or Dallas, but you're still obviously going to have traffic. The big main culprits are the 10-1604 interchange, the 10-410 interchange, 10-35 interchange. And so obviously take that into consideration. Rush hour traffic is obviously gonna be an issue anywhere in the world, I think, that you go. But it is manageable. Obviously you have to take into consideration, all the construction that is going on, because there is a lot of construction here in San Antonio, especially around the freeways. And I don't know if you have noticed, but if you can see in the background, or if you're looking around the background, there's so many different park benches around here. There's barbecue grills at each of those park benches, and it's shaded over here. So like I said, this park, it's actually called Orsinger Park, but I'll share more about that in a little bit. It's a great area for you just to, come have a barbecue, enjoy, and just get outside with your kids. And I think that's one of the great things about San Antonio, is that there are so many parks that you can go and enjoy, and also just, explore with your kids. This park here, it's in a neighborhood off of Huebner Road and the 10. And it's just like a nice little area that butts up against another community. And like I said, another really nice hidden gem. There's lots of little walking trails, and it's not so big where you're gonna feel like you're gonna be lost. But in San Antonio, there's just so many communities and areas that you can gather with friends. And this park actually has a pavilion where you can go rent out, set up a party. And like I said, there's a lot of barbecue pits out here. That way you can grill and let your kids play in the playground area, which I will show you in a little bit. And then, have fun. There's bathrooms over here. There is a sand pit. And so obviously they actually have an area where you can wash off after you play, or actually after your kids play in all the sand that they have here. Okay, so I talked a little bit about schools, and so let's dive a little bit deeper into schools. San Antonio has some of the best independent school districts. You've got Bernie, Alamo Heights, Northside, Northeast, Shirt, and so there's a lot of, and Comel, there's a lot of different school districts out here. And I think there's a lot of choices that you can choose from as well. Not only do these independent school districts have amazing ratings, but there's actually also charter schools that you can choose from. There are private school options, and of course, you have homeschool options as well. Now, obviously, each school is rated, and you can go on to different websites to go find out about the ratings of the different schools. But I think one of the best ways to see if a school is going to be a right fit for you and your family is to actually do some research yourself, talk to some locals, talk to the school, do a tour, check it out, because that's where you're going to see if that environment is going to be suited for your kid or not. And some of the school districts have amazing special needs programs, and so if that's something that you are very concerned about, obviously I would call the school, talk to the administration and the staff, and see what they are going to be able to offer to you in terms of accommodations for special needs. And again, going on to forums, asking moms, and doing your own research, that's going to be your best bet. And if a school or a district is of specific concern to you, I can obviously help zoom that into for you as a realtor, and really hone in on those specific areas that a school is specifically zoned for. But one of the things that I had mentioned earlier, again, is like I said, is that school choice. It's not guaranteed, but it's a really good option for people. Okay, so let's talk about weather and summer heat. We are July 2025, It is not unbearably hot right now. I am, like I said, walking around in the park, and you know, it does get really hot and muggy here in San Antonio. It does not get as bad as Houston, but you do have the mugginess that is out here, and this is why I tell people, you know, do everything in the morning time, try and beat the heat. Thankfully, this summer has not been as bad as previous summers. We have not hit triple digits yet. We are still in the high 80s, low 90s, and so that's nice. But in San Antonio, and anywhere, I would tell people that, you know, generally trying to get everything done in the morning time, and then by the afternoon, you know, you can, you know, go to an indoor play area, or, you know, just camp down inside your home, just because the hottest times of the day here in Texas is going to be between 4 and 6 p.m. And so, like I said, I like to get things done in the morning time. I like to let my kids explore, play, you know, go outside in the morning time, and then by the afternoon, you know, we can hunker down inside. Other things that you can do, obviously, are go to the splash pads. There's a lot of great splash pads that are free here in San Antonio. Off the top of my head, the Pearl is obviously a great one. They've got a grassy field area. There is a splash pad. There's great eateries over there. Emmett Park over by at Community Bible Church. It is a free park. They've got an amazing play area over there. They have a splash pad. Voigt Park out in Hollywood Park, Bulverde Park. So there's great splash pads in those areas that you can actually, you know, go cool off and let your kids, like I said, burn off energy and have fun at the same time. And worst comes to worst, if they are still burning with energy, there are a lot of indoor trampoline parks in areas that you can go take your kids in. I'm almost tripping over all these rocks over here. Of course, if you're going to a park, just make sure that you use mosquito or bug repellent, because mosquitoes here are out in full force. So just keep that in mind, especially if you're going to McAllister Park, which has some great shaded trail areas, but like I said, there's just going to be a lot of mosquitoes, and you might actually see a deer every once in a while, which is, you know, fun for the kids to see. Other areas that I love to explore with my kids that are actually also indoors, the Museum, the Whitty, McKenna Kids Museum, that's out in New Braunfels. Those are great places to explore with your kids. And here in Orsinger Park, one of the reasons that, like I said, that I love it is just because it is a park. It is shaded. There is a kids area. There are pavilions that you can host parties at. They have AstroTurf over there, which, by the way, if you didn't know, helps to repel against mosquitoes. So that's a plus. But there's a sandbox, and just a great area for, you know, you to kind of host birthday parties and be outside. Now, when I'm helping families to relocate here to San Antonio, I'm going to talk to you to see, you know, what your daily life looks like. You know, what's important to you in terms of, you know, home, commute time, schools, your lifestyle, because that's all going to play a factor in, you know, where you want to live and where you decide to look at for a home as well, because we want to make sure that this home, this community that you choose, is going to fit into your lifestyle, and also your budget. Maybe a big backyard is more important to you than a big kitchen, or maybe the school is more important to you than, you know, being close to work. You know, I ask all these questions because I want to see what is actually going to fit with your family and what it is that you are looking for. And obviously, there are so many different communities, so many different areas here in San Antonio, and there's a lot to choose from. But it all boils down to what's going to fit into your lifestyle and your family needs. Before we leave, I'm going to show you some of the play area of Orsinger Park. That way you can see what a great gem this is. So I'm walking up towards the pavilion area, and as you can see, it's a pretty decent sized area, and they actually have some fans in there, so that's really nice for you to be able to, you know, keep cool, and lots of seating and benches. So this is a great area. Like I said, got some ceiling fans up there, ceiling fans over here. Nice area just for you to, you know, host a party. And you actually have a drinking fountain right over there. And then down here is where the park is. So you've got bathrooms right over here. And then, you know, they have a sand pit in this area. They've got some swings and climbing obstacles, some more benches that are right there. So this is just like a really fun area for your kids. And yes, obviously the main road is right over here, but it's closed off. And like I said, there's all AstroTurf. There's some areas that, like I said, the sandbox over here, play areas, and just, you know, fun. Just a fun area for the kids to go play. And right now it's early enough where there aren't that many people. So what is it like to raise a family here in San Antonio? I love it. It's a very kid, family friendly area. Lots of things to do out here, and lots of areas for you to choose from. And if you are choosing and looking to make your move out here to San Antonio and looking for a family friendly neighborhood, I'd love to be able to help you to choose that area and share with you some of the different areas here in San Antonio that I think are some of my personal favorites and can really fit into what it is that you are looking for. All of our contact information is down below. Shoot me a message, send an email, give me a call, or if you prefer, we can actually do a quick Zoom call as well. And until next time, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Bye.